Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I am very happy to be here because Criterion just made its announcement for its planned October 2020 releases. And without further ado, let me share with you, if I may, my reactions to this announcement. So, you can find all the information at the website, Criterion Collection's website, for details about specifications, about special features, etc. But if I could share with you very briefly my reaction, it would be that, first of all, we have 5 titles, no box sets, no UHD 4K, but I'll get to that in a moment. But we have 5 Blu-ray titles. First, we have PIERROT LE FOU for October 6th. Then we have CLAUDINE, which is for October 13th. Then we have The Gunfighter, which is for October 20th. Then we have The Hit, which is for October 20th. Last but not least, we have Parasite for October 27th. Quite an exciting lineup for a number of reasons. First of all, I should mention the John Barry film Claudine, which is scheduled for release on spine number 1052. If you haven't seen this film, I strongly urge you to do so. And when the Criterion Blu-ray arrives, hopefully that will provide a great opportunity. This is such a great drama. It speaks on so many levels. It is a human drama about earnest characters honestly portrayed in real life settings, and so I really urge you to take a look at this if you can. John Barry's film. This is again for October 13th, and for those of you who are interested, it does have a commentary track from 2003. So really, I'm looking forward to this so much. I should mention also The Gunfighter, which is this great Western. Henry King Western with Gregory Peck, such a nuanced, quite complex Western. So for those of us who like to have more Westerns in the Criterion Collection, this is really great. And also, if I'm not mistaken, this is a Gregory Peck film, and we don't have any Gregory Peck films in the current physical media collection, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the only other time that happened was the Hitchcock film Spellbound on DVD, which is now currently out of print. So this release, therefore, is very exciting for a number of reasons. So this is another one to look forward to, again, for spine number 1053. And then let me go to the return, if you will, or it's not really return because The Hit, which is currently on DVD at spine number 469, the Stephen Frears film, which is really fantastic. It's a kind of suspense, cool, stylish film that is really worth it. So again, Stephen Frears film with Terrence Stamp, ultra cool. So if you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. But then we have this, which is the return, if you will, of PIERROT Le Fou, the Jean-Luc Godard film. This was on spine number 421, as you know, and this is an out-of-print Blu-ray, a Studio Canal title. This is considered one of the most collectible, one of the most sought after Blu-ray titles, and therefore it commands a very high price on the used market because a lot of people want it. And so we are getting it back, and we are getting it back with a new cover and also purported to be based off of a new digital restoration. But everything else seems to be the same. Again, this is something that I will explore in detail when the actual new release arrives. But this is really exciting news. And then finally, I should get to the film Parasite, which is really interesting because we have, again, Parasite, Bong Joon-ho film, one of the great masterpieces of the last few years. A South Korean film, again, Criterion really should be releasing more South Korean films, so this is a great addition. And Bong Joon-ho films, of course, we heard about the release of this film earlier in the year or some time back, but to get it now at last is really exciting. And again, as some of you may know, we will be expecting more films in the future based off of past news announcements, so we'll have to pay attention to that. But in the meantime, my friends, we are getting Parasite, and we are getting a number of new features, included in which is going to be, according to the Criterion website, a new commentary track that features Bong Joon-ho and Tony Raines. So that is really exciting news. And incidentally, that is an example of a release during this October, commentary track. Not all Criterion releases have commentary tracks, but this Parasite release appears to have one. The Hit, which is the older DVD, this does currently have a commentary track, and so the commentary track will be ported over to the new Blu-ray according to the website. And then Claudine's release is described as having an audio commentary track from 2003. So we are still getting releases with commentary tracks, and Parasite being one of them. So that is really great news as well. Now, this brings me to one of the issues, which is that, as some of you may know already, Parasite has enjoyed a lot of releases, non-Criterion, in many parts of the world, North America included. And among those releases has been a UHD 4K release of the film. Now, this brings into attention the fact that, according to the website by Criterion, Criterion's release of Parasite is not going to be a UHD 4K release. We already got a hint of this last month when Criterion announced its Elephant Man release. This was also somewhat conspicuous because Elephant Man had been released in other parts of the world in a 4K presentation, but Criterion did not go that route. This time around also, Criterion is not going the route of UHD 4K in its physical media. So what does that mean? When the Criterion release of Parasite arrives, I look forward to exploring it and seeing what it is, what it has to offer. I, being a big Criterion fan, of course, am very excited about this for the reasons that I cited earlier. But again, it does bring into attention this idea of formats and what is Criterion's stance on this. And it does, I think, call into attention the larger discussion about UHD 4K and the future of physical media. And so what I want to suggest is that, again, I know that some people will be excited about this. I know some people might be excited but with reservations, and perhaps there might be others who might be disappointed by this announcement because it is not a 4K release. And I think any approach is very valid and reasonable, so don't get me wrong about that. However, I do want to call into attention the fact that this is still an ongoing discussion. We are getting a lot of notable 4K releases, and we have been doing so over the past year or past several months, and so it is not an insignificant part of the market, of course. However, it does still call into attention whether or not labels think that there is a market for 4K releases, UHD 4K releases. It does call into attention how many potential customers there are. Of course, how many people have upgraded their hardware to 4K compatible viewing, etc., and those sorts of issues. And so I think it's, of course, a broader market-related issue that I think will have huge ramifications depending on what the resolutions of those issues are. And I think we're still in that discussion phase, obviously, with a lot of movement found elsewhere, of course, but still, this is something that we have to keep an eye on. But for now, we have Criterion still making its statement, as it were, at least as far as its current situation now, vis-a-vis its release of Parasite. So this is something to keep in mind when we review or when we experience Parasite's supplements and its features and the Criterion presentation of it when it arrives in late October. But let's just keep this idea in mind, and let's keep the discussion going. And who knows what will happen with Criterion in the future. Again, things can change, and as with anything, we should look forward to what Criterion has to offer in the future, because again, things might stay the same or things might change. Again, well, we'll just have to wait and see. And let me just finish the conversation by adding that, again, this is an October planned release schedule. There aren't any horror films or any other genre films here. I know in years past it has been a kind of unspoken tradition for there to be maybe a Halloween-related film or two, but we don't seem to be getting anything of that nature, which might be a little bit disappointing to some. But as I say, this wasn't always guaranteed, and it is still possible to enjoy, of course, to enjoy horror films during the Halloween season through other means. So that's one other issue, but I think that's okay in the long run. Another issue is that we don't get any box sets this month of October, which might be conspicuous to some, but we have to keep in mind also that so far we have gotten a lot of box set announcements. Bruce Lee, of course, Agnes Varda. So this has already been a box set rich year thus far. Plus, if the newsletter clues or the New Year clues and the rumors are true, we can expect the possibility, highly so, of, for instance, a Federico Fellini box set, Wong Kar-wai box set, and other rumors about other possible box sets going forward. So this might be, in many ways, in terms of box sets, the calm before the storm. And if we recall, for instance, the Bergman set having been released in November of that year, then perhaps next month's release, for next time when we get the November release announcement, we might expect some huge box sets. But let's keep an eye out for that when that announcement comes. But in the meantime, that probably explains why we're not getting any box sets in October. So, my dear friends, what do you think? Do you have any thoughts about this October release schedule? If so, please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. I'd very much be interested to hear what it is you have to say. So, thank you very much for your time as always, and until we meet again, please be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great, great movies. Thank you so much. Continue to stay safe, be well, and cheers.